I was saying, what one piece of advice would they give to nonprofits here in San Diego to reach them personally better, but also to put in that care factor so that we can start relationships with them and start that conversation?
And so I can better understand relationships with who?
With people under 25.
Oh, under 25. Oh, I see.
Great question.
Yeah. I think definitely what Macy was saying earlier is relationships are really important. I think like really feeling valuable, because I think what happens a lot of times, the sad reality, what I've noticed, whether it's nonprofit or for-profit companies, is if you don't care or if you don't invest that time in the beginning of really working, acknowledging the people that are working with you, like they're going to drift off. They're not going to be really connected or concerned, and they're going to lose your message in value because they don't feel how they fit in that message. And so, I think it's really important that when recruiting and getting people involved is to value them, but don't stop it in the beginning. Like always figure out a way, like daily, to really make sure those people know that they're important to the organization, and give them opportunities to lead. Make them feel like they're important enough, if it's just small tasks here and there, where our day and age, social media, you could say, hey, on a social media campaign, use your social media to share our message, and you take leadership. And if I'm that individual and I'm working with your nonprofit, I'm saying, wow, like I was invited and I'm honored to be a part of this, and now I can use my own skills and my own talent to best serve.
Thanks. I think we're millennials. We're brought up very differently from our previous generations, like Generation X and baby boomers. On average, baby boomers keep a job for 10 years, and then Generation keeps a job for 5 years, and millennials stay in jobs for 18 months. And that's because, it's because we were told that we were special. Our parents are like, we're gonna crunch, we're gonna make that money, and we're making our future better so that our kids can have that better future. We were told that we can be anything that we want and that we're really, really special. It sounds narcissistic, but it's true. So the thing is, we were brought up in the age of the internet. Everything is closed, and we have access to anything, anywhere, anytime. And for nonprofits, I think we have to understand that you're not going to get all of the people to rally behind you, but our generation really cares. We want to be engaged, and we all have passions that we're looking forward to be and to embrace. Our dream is not as much as our parents to create a substantial money pool or to have a steady career. We want to be that passion. We want to just spread that to our audiences and tell our friends that we're cool, we're doing something awesome, and here, look at us on social media. I think that the most important part is to align with the people that believe in your cause and focus on them. They'll naturally help you advocate, and since we naturally want to be popular with our friends, we'll be telling people your message and advocating in ways that you never thought was possible. And relationships are very important, but there's also overkill with push notifications and email newsletters and whatnot. I think there's a perfect balance between becoming friends with millennials and having a more personal relationship rather than just blasting messages.
There was, I think I caught. Do you mind if I? Sorry. I think there was a second part to your question, right? Of how can we get millennials to care a little bit more?
Right, and just young philanthropists.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think, and just hearing your reflections and thinking about how people view millennials, I think people don't think we care, which we really do. Clearly we do. We've made careers out of it, and so I think it's just targeting what that is exactly and kind of feeding that. As far as day-to-day, I think I'm a big believer that attitude is altitude, right? And that we're watching our bosses constantly, and nonprofit work is really hard work. It's tiring. You get jaded really, really quickly just because of the system that we're up against. And so I think it's very easy to be in a bad mood because, you know, you don't get that grant that you really wanted or something didn't work out the way that you want to. And so I think it's important to see that whoever is around you is watching off of it. I'm a big believer in vibes. They're vibing off of your energy. And so I think if you can keep your own energy in check and your own vibes in check, that's a big thing, because people don't want to work for people or be around people that have bad energy, because then we'll leave. I think we're a generation that really understands our autonomy, so yeah.
Hi there. My name is James Halliday. I wear a lot of hats. One of the hats is as program director at an organization called the Education Synergy Alliance. And I'll mention another. I've just joined the steering committee at the EPIP San Diego, Emerging Practitioners in Philanthropy. So well, I'm really inspired by all of your stories, and I want to ask you guys 2 questions, and you can all take one or both of these. This could just as easily be called innovation in philanthropy, and I think you guys all got a knack for that. So let me ask, if you were to look out there in the landscape, what is an innovation in philanthropy that has inspired you? Because that seems to be a theme infused in all of your talks. And looking to the age group older than you, that is 25 and up, if you could have access to one person, have one conversation today, tomorrow, this week, in the philanthropic space, corporate space, whatever, who do you want to talk to and what do you want to tell them?
Yeah, I'll start answering that. I'm going to talk to the billionaires. And I really want to have a conversation with the billionaires in philanthropy and say to them that when we give money, we need to give mentorship as well. I think it's so important, because here's my thing with philanthropy is, how do we give all this money, but our change is not happening like it should be? There's a problem to that. If we're giving this money, I want to see people who have this money so that I can understand how I can create careers maybe like they did. The problem is that disconnect, because if money is just given to a school or organization and I don't see the face, or I don't see or understand how I can become that person or successful, it's a disconnect. So I need people over 25 who have money to not only just give money, but to give time and energy into the programs and into the schools. So if you're giving money, I want you to know the results of what's happening with the money that has been given. I want you to sit down with students and really talk to them about finance, because guess what? I didn't have a parent who knew anything about finance. Even if I had a job or whatever it may be, I don't grow up understanding how this money works. So all the money that's going is going to these programs, and it may say I go to college, but I get to college and I'm around all of these people. You know, I went to the University of Southern California, where I'm coming from the inner city, and I'm around people with a lot of money, and it's a disconnect. So what's happening is a lot of money is being given, but we need that mentorship that's there along with it. As a male, not being able to see male figures in my life of who I wanted to be, I was only hoping that a philanthropist or someone who was giving back to me would just sit down with me and mentor me and just show me the ropes of what they did, so that I can grow and then begin to give my money and resources, because guess what? I know where the money is needed. I think there's a problem is there needs to be consulting coming from the 25 and under, or the people who come from inner cities, to say, look, you have this money. Do you know where you're giving it to, why you're giving it to? And if that's the case, let me show you who really needs it and where this money is specifically needed, so that change can really happen. So that, to be quite honest, you're just not throwing your money out there and not knowing what's happening to it. And I think that's really important, and I think we really need to challenge that idea more.
For your first question, I think innovative philanthropy is just another term. I mean, there are so many terms. I looked this up and it's crazy. There's capitalism 3.0, techno-philanthropist, all these crazy words out there that mean just the fact that we're catching up to what the big tech world is doing. There's so many things that could be better. And the fact that we're labeled as nonprofits kind of deter a lot of people who want to work in that space to make a better place for us to live in, because we're not making money. And that's not true. It's really not true. You get the benefit of giving back, and then you also get paid, because we got to eat, we got to live. It happens. But the thing is, I feel like innovative tech philanthropy, whatever this cool buzzword is happening here in San Diego a lot more than a lot of other cities. So I've seen that there's an impact hub being built in San Diego where they want to bring a lot of philanthropists and nonprofits together to collaborate. There's been talks about having conferences, so nonprofits and for good sectors can come together and discuss, what are the problems we're all trying to solve separately, and then come together and put our resources together, because we're not competing, we're trying to make the world a better place. And if there is no need in the world for nonprofits, that means we've done our job right.
We'll take the last question.
Hi. One of the most exciting things, one of the most exciting themes is this idea of inclusive philanthropy, more than just giving money, but inclusive to the ways that millennials can access philanthropy. And when I've been in development conversations at organizations, that's not what is being talked about. Anytime millennials come up, it's more like a panic around, are we losing this generation as philanthropists? And what they're talking about is donating money. So kind of given that exciting theme of inclusive philanthropy, what do you think is really motivating millennials to be philanthropists? And what do you think the biggest barriers are? Is it that we don't feel like we can make an impact based on what organizations are referring to as philanthropy? It's like, wow, I can't make $1,000 gift, so I can't be a philanthropist. One of the things that's been talked about is I don't have time, or I don't think I have time, but what other barriers are there? And then what can organizations that need the time, money, and talent of millennials do to better empower them?
I think that millennials are having a different point of view on what for good means. So for our parents, they'd wait for the autumn times of our lives to go give money. And now we're realizing we don't have to be rich. We don't have to have anything monetarily to give back. And it's ingrained in our being that social good is just being a good person. I mean, giving back is telling your neighbor good morning, or flashing a smile to someone who walks down the street because maybe they're having suicidal thoughts. Nobody knows, right? And so along with that, millennials want to see the effect of their money. We're not going to donate because you asked us for $1,000. We want to know where it's going, what's happening to it, and will the impact actually happen? And we're not rallying behind a certain legacy for donations, but instead we want to just funnel money towards a cause or a problem. We're not going to donate to a certain place just because they were well known. I mean, there's the Red Cross and the Humane Society, all of these things that most people are donating to, but now millennials are looking into, let me spare that change and send it to someone else. Let me, take that $1 and make a difference in someone else's life. We know as a generation that together we can make a difference, and the less and less people want to give all of their time or all of their money.
Yeah, and I would say, to that too, it's just so important that we realize that the future of philanthropy is really giving information, knowledge. So the future of philanthropy, in that sense, is millennials want to be involved by understanding how they can learn to create new models. So we want to be a part of the conversation by being able to learn how the system works, but being able to have the opportunity to be a part of the conversation and say, this is what's really working. And so with that being said, it's how can we, when money is being given, how can we give the information with that to go along with it? You know, how it's really the Robin Hood story that I'm thinking about, of when you take from the rich and you give to the poor. But what's really happening when money's coming from the rich and go to the poor? We actually need the information from the rich to go to the poor. We need the education and the knowledge, because what's going to happen is the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer, because the poor don't have any information or knowledge of how to really get it. So I'm concerned about the idea of philanthropy almost going this way and staying at this pace, because the rich have all the knowledge and the poor have none. So as we give money, give access to the resources that you have as well, so that we kind of create a better balance for all of us to succeed and have the opportunities to feel like we could be philanthropists. How can you tell someone to be a philanthropist if they don't understand who they are or why they would need to give if they don't have anything for themselves, because they don't have the knowledge or the education? And that's what really needs to be given.
I think the money component too is some of us just don't have money to give. And so I think that's naturally how we've said we want to give our time, we want to give our energy, and that takes a lot, right? We all know that in this room. So I think that's one component to it, but I think it's also the conversation regarding the issues that are happening in our country, the issues that are happening internationally even right now, is the dialogue is changing from Band-Aid solutions to really diving deep into the root. Like, what is causing our educational system to look the way that it looks for some students in certain zip codes? You know, what does integration in schools look like today? How is it hiding, you know? How is it different from when Brown versus Board of Education was first came about? And so I think that's a big aspect of it too, the knowledge part, right? Is we're hungry to learn about how we can fix it, and we're not settling for just throwing money at a problem. We want to settle, we want to leave a change and an impact, and we want to make sure that the time that we do invest in something is time well invested, and that's hard work and does require for you to roll up your sleeves. And so those are a couple of initial thoughts that come to mind, but I do, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, that was, anything else?
I just wanted to add a last thought. Yeah, it's not monetary anymore, it's about sustainability. And that's just what our generation's looking forward to.
Wow, I learned so much. Let's have another round of applause for Nate.